Hello, hello. Welcome back to another market recap. Today is April 29th, 2025. So I haven't posted a video, I guess in 2 days. I took Friday off and I took Monday off. Had a nice chill, kind of like 4-day weekend. And I got back to trading today. I didn't take any trades. There was really like one trade to take, and then possibly another one if I would enter above 0.382, which I'm entertaining starting next month. But to get into it, first thing I had on watch was this kind of pound dollar. I mean, really, I kind of had nothing on watch at the start of the 7 a.m. hour, but I was watching some stuff develop with kind of the dollar pairs mainly. I had like euro dollar and dollar yen and pound dollar and a couple of the CADs still on watch from my daily watch list that were still sitting at value as far as like the 1 hour time frame goes. Pound dollar really wasn't one of those. Like technically I'm looking for a reversal on pound dollar right now. Like it's hitting recent highs. It's kind of not all time highs, but like highs in the past long while. So I'm looking for some kind of retracement here. A nice kind of like decent daily pullback. So I'm currently looking for shorts on pound dollar. Granted, on these other dollar pairs, like dollar yen, for instance, I had a short bias. So a dollar weakness essentially is what I've been looking at with everything else I had on watch that was dollar based, was looking at it from the eyes of a dollar weakness. So that dollar weakness play wouldn't really play into shorting pound dollar like I'd like to. Because to short pound dollar, pound needs to weaken essentially. But either way, I was sitting here and I was watching this, and I saw this develop, this kind of like decent little triangle pattern break, coming back for a retest. It did retest 0.382. It's a 5 pip position, so it's really hard. I mean, I can enter a 5 pip position, especially on pound dollar. There's almost no spread for me. The issue I run into with pound pairs, though, is that I cannot risk my max risk on them. So I sit there and I'm like, is it even worth taking the trade? I mean, money's money at the end of the day, but I'm only able to really put on like half my normal size to get into this position at 5 pips on a pound pair. So it actually honestly may have been even less than half my normal size. It may have been like 1/3 or so. So I was sizing it in my broker and I was playing with it, trying to decide if I wanted to just take this real quick. And when I was doing all of that, and the, really the minute, like 45 seconds or so that I would have had to enter this trade, I mean, price kind of reversed. So, and just continued on. Would have been a nice, like, quick kind of two to one. And then it ran even more. But that was really it for 7 a.m. I didn't have anything. And then all of a sudden, all the dollar pairs kind of all started to develop at the same time. And then that went into the 8 o'clock hour. So if we go for replay here to the end of the 8 o'clock hour, I also had dollar pound on watch for, it was an IBO at 7 and then a CBO at 8 o'clock. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, right? But this kind of trend line right here sketched me out a tiny bit. But realistically, I was trying to wait for an entry on euro dollar, which I nearly got. As you can see, like it it had a nice kind of wave one explosion, right? Like trading pound dollar was going to be a wave 5 CBO. This is going to be a wave 3 CBO. And euro dollar was from my primary daily watch list. And so I was looking to go long on this pair anyways. To really kind of the recent highs. So there's two ways I was looking at this. One of just a normal play of the CBO, which if I would commit to raising my entry just a tad bit, like a pip or two, I would have been able to get into this trade. And then I likely would have rode it on this wave right here. And then when it started to break down right there, like broke the EMA, broke that trend line, I'd look to exit because I'd roughly be at 1-to-1 right there. Pretty sure. Yeah. So I'd be exiting right there for 1.1, 1.2, something like that. But I was waiting for that just to pull down just a hair. It was nearly there, but it didn't quite trigger the entry. So I was waiting for this one to trigger, and I was sitting there looking at this one, right? And I technically could have just manually taken this trade because the euro dollar is the one I had a limit order for. But yeah, I also was waiting on a dollar yen, similar kind of play to euro dollar, but it never really pulled back. And then euro CAD, another similar play. And honestly, I probably preferred euro CAD the most. I like the double bottom, nice break of a trend. But I think really the kind of pullback it had was right here. But the CAD pairs they started moving kind of crazy like for an hour or so first thing in the morning, around the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock hours. So, but yeah, nearly triggered me in. Would have been a nice, quick 1.2 or so. But it is what it is. So at this point, I could have captured 2 on this. Granted, the 2 really would have been not even like 1R equivalent. So I don't know if it's that big of a deal to miss this one. This one I can risk full size on though. So this one missing by a pip, similar to stuff that we saw last week and the week before. I think realistically, I just have to raise my entry level. Like the way I've been thinking about this is it's just whatever is the first resistance piece for a tap and go situation to place the entry just above that. So in this case, I would be really the pivot. So like just above the pivot is probably where I should enter, or the times where I've got EMAs and whatnot. Like there's going to be somewhat of a judgment call. I don't want to go too far beyond 0.382, but just increasing my entry by like 1 pip beyond 0.382, I think will allow me to get into a lot of these trades that I currently miss. So yeah. The other thing I was looking at, I was playing with again, are these MBO style kind of entries on, I position sized them as if I were to take them. And they played out to an extent. I think the nicest one really was kind of CAD yen at this hour. It was essentially a CBO. The only crappy thing is like it has this sideways consolidation and then almost kind of like a double bottom right here, right? And then a push up. So, but it becomes it's still a CBO. And then on this breakdown, you can clip the highs, enter on the break, and then shoot for 2-to-1 the lows. But realistically, I'd want this positioned for like a 4-to-1 to the lows. So, but it's still possible to position size these 2-to-1 to the lows. That's how I position size nearly all of these pairs. It was really about 2-to-1s. This is 4-to-1, but technically it goes to here. It's 2-to-1 lows. Same thing for euro dollar. Position sized at 2-to-1, but it was a little higher than the recent highs. But this entry on this pair would have pretty much netted the same result as the CBO entry, but this would have guaranteed an entry on this kind of breakout style play. So it's interesting. I'm starting to like see these more and more, and like thinking from the aspect of like a normal kind of day trade, I could take a lot of them, like look for a daily setup, get some kind of pattern, get a break of the said pattern, enter on a break of said pattern with a stop clip above the recent lows or highs, and then shoot for like a 2-to-1 to the recent high and lows, or a 4-to-1 if possible, but somewhere between a 2 and a 4, and then see how that kind of plays out. And then I could use like the Fibonacci extension, in this case, target like 0.618 for, 4R or so. Or if I'm able to do 4 to the lows, I could target it for 8R. But I'm kind of liking this concept of finding a daily setup and then entering it with an MBO style entry. Some of these entries are a little looser than I'd like, but I'm kind of just position sizing everything and seeing how it plays out. But most of the time, these MBOs, if you pair them with a daily setup and a 1 hour move, and you time it correctly, it works out nicely. I mean, technically, there's even one here on this pound dollar. Like you could have done an MBO style entry right here on this break, stop clip, and then go to whatever you can get to. This would be like a 4-to-1 to the highs, and then you could push it if you really wanted to with like an 8-to-1 kind of target using the fib extension, right? Roughly an 8-to-1 at that point. So that's fascinating. So I'll probably end up starting to try and take some of these MBO style entries come next month. I think that's going to be the two main adjustments I make is for the micro time frame trades, increase my entry point by 1 pip, and then look to take some of these MBO style entries, but only doing so if I have a daily setup that I can trade with. So 8 o'clock hour was really this euro dollar. These two didn't really pull back. And then for the rest of the day, I didn't have much at all, to be honest. Price just wasn't doing anything that was attractive for me to trade. And it wasn't until 1 o'clock when I built a watch list that I saw this CAD yen pair. This trade right here. Right. So this would have been that MBO style trade. The 2-to-1 would have worked, and you could have even wrote it a little further to, I don't know, what is this? Like a 3. But realistically, targeting a 2 is the safest kind of bet there. But price started to decelerate, and I really like trading this pattern when you've got like a double bottom and you've got a kind of a downward trend line. So say if I want to take the trade bullish, like in this example, and I get a double bottom, then I'm looking for a kind of downward sloping trend line and then a break of that trend and a pullback. So you got MACD, you got the double bottom, you got the downward sloping trend line, you got a break of the EMAs. So on the 2-minute time frame, it's a nice wave 3 CBO. So wave 1, wave 2, playing wave 3. The only issue I kind of had with it is that it was running into the 10-minute 50. Like it had broke it at the top of the hour, and there's a pullback. So you could argue it's retesting, but also you could argue that it's resistance at the same time. So it's kind of, it's not great, right? It's not preferable. Like realistically, I would want this 50 EMA to be a little bit lower, roughly, in line about here. And then the trade honestly would have been perfect. I wouldn't have had many issues with it. But that was the kind of main hesitation or so, I'd say, is that. But I position sized it for 2-to-1 and just kind of waited for a pullback and never got it. So this is another kind of example of changing my entry by roughly a pip may have triggered me here. I think I would have had to increase this one by 2 pips though to trigger, because there is a bit of a spread. So even with the 1 pip increase, I don't know if I would have been able to trigger here. But ultimately, this trade played out. So if I was able to enter, a little bit higher, then this first push, I don't think it'd be 1-to-1. I think it'd be just shy. Yeah, I mean, it just would have tapped it. Can't really do much at that point. So you'd be sitting at like break even or so. So there's a possibility you could get tapped right here. But if able to survive this right here, then the trade ultimately ends up playing out. But there's a possibility of maybe it probably would have closed for break even right there with the spread. Just depends. If you went straight break even, I think it would have closed right here. If with no management though, and just enter the trade and let it play it and do its thing, it would have been a 2R. So really, I think what I could have captured today is this euro dollar for 1.2. It's the main kind of missed trade, I'd say, for the day. There were these others MBOs, but I'm not really committed to trading them right now. But yeah, either way, that was my day. And that's all I got. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See you.